Welcome to Monday Morning Dharma on May 18th. This morning for our Lam Rim meditation, we're going to meditate again on refuge practice. And in reflecting on some of our previous classes and teachings about refuge practice, I realized that I wasn't as clear perhaps as I could have been, so I want to sort of tend to that now. Refuge practice can take a lot of different forms, but essentially what we're talking about is strengthening our determination to take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And there is, excuse me, and there is a difference between Dharma and the Dharma jewel, Buddha and the Buddha jewel. And today we're going to meditate on the Buddha jewel. Dharma, as I've mentioned before, the word Dharma means wisdom-based teachings and practices. Okay? The Dharma jewel means internal realizations which protect us from suffering. So, like we practice the Dharma, we learn the Dharma, that creates a Dharma jewel within us, which are inner resources, we might think of them, that protect us from suffering. The Buddha, sorry, I got to be careful. Buddha refers to the first Buddha, who sort of like is the basis for all of the teachings, Shakyamuni Buddha 2,600 years ago, or any other being who has attained complete awakening. Okay, that's Buddha, whereas the Buddha jewel is our own internal Buddha potential, our own internal potential for achieving awakening ourselves. And then what I'm going to talk about in this morning's teaching is the third of what is considered the third of the three jewels, Sangha, and the Sangha jewel, Sangha being spiritual community. But let's put that on the shelf for a few minutes and meditate on the Buddha jewel. So I hope that helps clarify the three jewels and Dharma, Dharma jewel, Buddha, Buddha jewel, Sangha, and Sangha jewel. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and settle into a comfortable meditation posture. Please feel free to ground and settle. Come to a place of quiet stillness, like a mountain in the center of a vast wilderness area. Moment by moment, day by day, year after year, the mountain simply observes silently. Resting in ancient wisdom awareness. And as a means of helping us settle into a state of meditation as a preliminary, we can mount our three-word mantra on the breath. As you inhale, silently say the word rest. At the top of the inhalation, silently say the word relax. And as you exhale, silently say the word allow. Allow the world and everything in it to be as it is. Rest, relax, allow. Please gently transition into meditation on the inner body. Become the silent observer of sensations within your inner body. This morning's Lamrim meditation is on refuge practice. In taking refuge in Dharma, we have a means of removing those obstacles and obscurations that prevent us from experiencing the spacious clarity of our own mind, the vast, spacious clarity of our mind. And as we deepen our experience of our own mind, as we start to access that limitless potential, that luminosity and spacious clarity, we will move closer and closer to fully awakening from the sleep of ignorance. We all have within us a Buddha seed or a Buddha potential, a potential for complete and full awakening. This potential is our Buddha jewel, and that is our object of meditation for this morning's refuge practice meditation. So now I'd like you to please just rest in a state of fondness, of encouragement over your own Buddha nature, your own Buddha potential. Just rest with your own Buddha potential, conjoined with meditation on the inner body. Your potential for full awakening is your birthright. This is your Buddha nature, your Buddha potential. Indeed, it is your Buddha jewel. For the last moment or two of our meditation, please rest in the determination, the decision to take refuge in your Buddha jewel. Now, please gently redirect your awareness. Become aware again of your physical body and allow your breathing to become less shallow. Become aware again of the garments of clothing resting on the surface of your physical body. Become aware again of your surroundings inside the room that you're occupying. Deeper and deeper breaths, becoming aware again of the world that exists outside of the room that you're occupying. We dedicate all of the merit from this morning's meditation to world peace. May the human beings of this world soon come to develop respect and love and care for the non-human animals of this world. May we humans recognize clearly how much we can learn from our non-human animal relatives. Completely fill up your belly and lungs with air, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes and bring your meditation to an end. Thank you. So we were talking before class started, some of us here at the center, and like our last gathering was a week ago Friday. Feels like a long time. Feels like not 10 days, but 10 months. At least it does to me. Thanks for your understanding and flexibility as I needed to take some time off. Um, so just to refresh where we are in the process, we are in the initial scope meditations of the 21 Lam Rims. As you know, refuge practice in particular. In Friday's class, we will talk about the last meditation that's part of the initial scope meditations and then move on to intermediate scope. Um, but before we do, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Sangha jewel. And I'm going to speak almost entirely from experience with regard to Sangha. Sangha, Sanskrit word Sangha, Sangha, which kind of loosely translated means spiritual community. Spiritual community. There are more precise, if you will, more involved definitions and translations of Sangha. Um, Maybe we'll get to that another time. For now, thinking of Sangha as our spiritual community or our community of spiritual friends is good enough. Yeah, good enough for now. Um, so when I first entered the path, for me, when it came to meditation on and study of the three jewels, the overwhelming majority of my energy went into the Dharma and the Buddha jewels. Sangha was almost an afterthought. Not because not because I didn't really understand the importance of the Sangha jewel, although there was that lack of understanding. It was just more kind of being enamored with the Dharma, and it was just like, it's all just like new stuff, just so new and mind blowing. I just like deep dove into Dharma teachings. And, when I would be reminded of the Sangha jewel, I was, oh, yeah, yeah, what spiritual friends, I understand, whatever, Didn't literally say that, but that's kind of the approach I took. Honest mistake, honest lack of capacity. Today, I can tell you that the Sangha jewel gets most of my attention, gets most of my energy, and it's um, the jewel, perhaps, I won't say I rely on most, but it is definitely right there with the Buddha and Dharma jewels. So absolutely indispensable. And I would tell you with very strong conviction that if it were not for the Sangha jewel, my Sangha friends, I'm sure I wouldn't be on the path anymore. So supportive and inspiring are my collection of Sangha friends. Um, and just a little sidebar before I forget to make it, these three jewels are pretty much Buddhist specific, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. They're presented in a formal way in Buddhist doctrine. And I want you to know that Sangha friends don't have to be Buddhist. Um, we might say, oh, have a very close spiritual friend and say, oh, you're my friend, but you're not my Sangha friend because you're not Buddhist. No, 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 no. That's not, that's one of the few mistakes I never made in my Buddhist practice. I recognize that, you know, people of all spiritual walks can serve as sources of inspiration and confidence and refuge for us. I would say that one of my very closest Sangha friends here in Silver City, a lifelong Christian, and I receive constant inspiration from him and encouragement. And that really is the main role of Sangha, is to encourage us, to support us in our Dharma practice, and even to inspire us as we tread this path that is fraught with the potential for us to make all sorts of mistakes and maybe get to places of discouragement. Um, I can't let a discussion on Sangha pass without talking about one of my very closest Sangha friends, Andre. You guys have heard me mention him before from time to time. He lives out in California. Andre and I entered the path within a few months of each other, and we've sort of been close friends, supporters of each other. I hope I'm a support to him. I know he has been to me all along. You might remember the story I told that when we first entered the path, he I was all about learning as many different teachings and doing as many different practices as I possibly could, just like kind of becoming a Dharma jack of all trades, master of none, well intentioned. And there's a place for trying to learn as many different practices and as many different dharmas as we can. Andre focused on exactly one practice, purification practice, as in purifying the obstructions and obstacles in his mind so that the potential to understand and actualize the Dharma teachings was greater. You know, we can't have a vegetable garden if it's filled with rocks and weeds, it's just not going to bear any fruit or vegetables, as it were. Andre recognized that, and for I don't know, 7, 8 years, just did mantra recitation of a Buddhist purification, recognized as being a purification deity named Vajrasattva. That's all he did. And someday, if you have the good fortune of meeting him, you'll see how that has borne fruit, how that's paid off for him in his practice. He's an amazing person, and I receive endless inspiration from him. Something else about Andre is he has Lyme disease. He contracted Lyme disease a few years ago, and it's crippling. It's crippling. Like weeks will go by where I don't hear from him because he's bedridden and unable to do anything. But of course, he meditates. He meditates while he is in the throes of a bout with Lyme disease. And one time I talked to him and I just said, this is fairly recently, actually. I said, how do you do it? Like, I can't even begin to imagine the discomfort, both physical and mental, that you experience from this Lyme disease. And he said, he said, I've come to love the disease. He said, you know, this disease, like all things, needs love. And he didn't say, I'm doing it to cure myself of Lyme disease. He said, he just came to the realization, not the understanding, but the direct actualization. I mean, the knowing that the only way out is love. The only way out is love. So I'm going to love everything, including this disease, including the symptoms that I experience from this disease, including the tick that gave me this disease, you know? I just got the distinct impression he meant it. I mean, he meant it to the very core of his being. This is what a Sangha jewel is. This is what Sangha friends can bring us, is this sort of inspiration and this clarity. When I hear a story like when I heard that story, I was like, tell me again about why I'm worried about these worldly things that I worry about. Like, yeah, our Sangha friends help us keep our eye on the prize, in different forms. And it doesn't take Lyme disease, by the way, to become a beautiful Sangha jewel. Anyways, that's Sangha. Well, there's a lot more we could say, but there's not time for it. And that's a brief story of my friend Andre. Someday maybe he'll come out to Silver City when his health permits him to travel, and we can get teachings from him, or at least get together with him at a Sangha party. Okay. Thank you, dear friends. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye.
Jeff.
Bye, everybody.